Next, we have Maha from Qatar, who's going to give us some um, quick overview of what's happening in Qatar in terms of blockchain digital assets adoption and where we are and what the other countries can learn from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Maha Al-Saadi, Head of Regulatory Affairs at Qatar Financial Center. I will be sharing the Qatari experience with you, and I'm conscious that I only have 10 minutes. So in Qatar, we have decided to look into three different layers: blockchain, blockchain in financial services, and blockchain within financial services as a regulated activity. If you're just using blockchain for efficiency outside of financial services, say in healthcare, supply chain, etc., these activities are licensed but not authorized as financial services activities, and you would just have to obtain a license, be it from us or from the state of Qatar. And here I would like to allude to a minor point, is that Qatar Financial Center is an onshore jurisdiction, and we operate alongside our regulator, Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority, but also the state regulators, Qatar Central Bank and Qatar Financial Market Authority. So in the first case, it's just a simple registration process. In the second phase, if you will be providing blockchain services that relate to what we call token service providers, and you're purely providing the technology to other financial institutions or institutions in general, this is again a non-regulated activity, but the requirements that you would have to satisfy would be a bit higher, because you have to demonstrate to us that you have awareness of the anti-money laundering requirements in terms of client onboarding, in terms of cybersecurity. Now, the third aspect, and this is the most important one, is what relates to token service providers as a regulated or authorized activity. And this is where we are dealing with our regulators, Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority. And you would not just become a regulated token service provider. We would just assume that you are an existing bank, asset manager, or an insurance company that is offering these services, and would have the existing licenses, and you'll add this as a new specified product, or just upgrading your license. If you are not already one of these three structures, investment manager, bank, or insurance company, you would have to apply to conduct these activities to be able to offer tokenized investment products. Another very important distinction that we have in Qatar is that we are one of the few jurisdictions that still bans the use of cryptocurrencies and stable coins in financial services. We are aware that this cannot be done on a peer-to-peer level, so individuals who wish to transact in them would have to acknowledge that they are basically subject to higher consumer risks, and certain consumer protection requirements do not apply, specifically if they are they're not allowed to convert their crypto to fiat within the Qatari monetary system. What we're trying to focus on in Qatar is looking into tokenization and blockchain as an infrastructure, as a technology, away from the speculations. We are looking into different jurisdictions in terms of the lessons learned, primarily MiCA and the DLT pilot regime. I was personally hoping that the DLT pilot regime would yield more results, and we're currently studying the FCA's recent consultation on fund tokenization, because we see that this is more aligned with the Qatari strategy of looking into blockchain to enable financial services, not as a competing asset class. That said, we are also monitoring very closely the developments in the US, the sudden shift from regulating by enforcement to a very much more welcome framework with the Clarity and the Genius Act. But we're also aware that we need to see that there's a continuity, and if I can bluntly say, that it will not move and change its course after the Trump administration. We are very much interested in looking into unlocking a lot of liquidity pools. We are looking into specific applications that are not available in other jurisdictions, specifically when it has to do with Islamic finance and to sukuk issuances or Islamic bonds. And we are also looking into the use of proper real-world asset tokenization to deal with real estate tokenization frameworks. So we already have an initiative that is running in the state of Qatar that just uses digitization to offer access to rental income from real estate, but we're also looking into options to allow fractionalization of ownership structures and democratization of access to real world assets in general. We also have introduced a digital asset lab where we, alongside the three regulators that I've mentioned earlier, are looking how to make sure that we do not have any sort of regulatory arbitrage. I know that we keep saying that it's very important to have cross-border cooperation with financial regulators, but we oftentimes forget the importance of having an internal within your borders cooperation with the different entities. And that's why the Digital Asset Lab is a forum where Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority, Qatar Central Bank, Qatar Financial Market Authority are looking into different use cases. I think I have by that covered my 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maha. Just a very quick question about the tokenization of the rental payment. So
yeah,
what does it look like? Means so the tenants can pay the rent in the form of token to the landlord. Is that how it works?
This is a very interesting question, and thank you so much for raising it to allow me to clarify. So what we have is we have huge development projects. So after the World Cup, we have amazing buildings and office spaces. And to encourage firms to move into them, what we have done alongside certain developers is to allow for individuals to get access to it. So let's say if company X or development company X has this building, Bank B would allow me to get a fraction of the rental income that this developer is getting to, so that they would have additional cash flows to encourage firms and individuals to move to these properties. It is not owning the actual asset or the real estate, because to be fair, this is a bit tricky in the GCC where you have restricted areas that non-locals cannot own property. And this will be difficult with the mainland and offshore jurisdiction. But in this case, you would have this think of it as a receipt, your normal receipt that is just tokenized, but it will encourage the developers to have access to additional qualified investors. Another thing that is very important to distinguish is Qatar Financial Center is purely a B2B institution. The moment that we have the C involved, that would require interference from the state to ensure that we have proper consumer protection mechanisms in place and a higher burden of compliance. So far with the rental receipts, it's for other institutions, commercial individuals, or highly qualified investors that can tap into that, because it's something new and could be a bit risky. The moment that there's the C involved, then the central bank would have to provide its approval.
And obviously with this tokenization, people from other jurisdictions around the globe can participate in this kind of real estate investing. Yeah.
This is also a very important consideration. Our digital asset framework, which is just a year old, envisages that token service providers that are not only from Qatar, but you can have token service providers from abroad or offer your products to institutions from abroad, as long as we have this equivalence regime. Yes.
Thank you very much, Maha, for excellent update. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So this was Maha from Qatar.